guys, my name is Kenzie Oliver, and today we're going to be learning a trick in Photoshop that will completely change your photos, and it's very simple. All you need to do is use your brushes. Brushes have a lot of uses in Photoshop. What they can do is they can help you mask, you can just darken things, lighten things, you can literally just paint with the brushes. It's just a brush with a color, and varying on the brush you use depends on how soft the edges are, how hard the edges are, and the shape of them. So the pack that you download determines the shape of the brush, and then you can still decide the size of the brush from your brackets tool, from your bracket shortcut. There are so many Photoshop brushes online, and all of the ones I have, I've just gotten them for free. Literally just type in Photoshop brushes, flower Photoshop brushes, and I found the pack and downloaded them. I think I have some fog ones that I use in this video as well, and I've all just gotten them all for free online. Then what you do is you download them to your computer, and then you can import them into Photoshop in your brushes tab. And from there, then you just use it as a brush. So let's get started here. You can see that I've already kind of played around with the colors and her skin tone in the photo, and I did all of these adjustments in Lightroom. So at this point I've just brought it into Photoshop, and I also touched up her skin and her flyaways in her hair. So now I'm just starting to grab a brush. And as I said before, I got these Photoshop brushes for free online, and I just downloaded them, imported them into Photoshop, and now I'm just trying to figure out what works best. So I choose a brush. These brushes are flowers, and I just chose the color white because I wasn't quite sure if I wanted to make them full opacity or not. It might have been fun to play around with different kind of colors, but I just chose to do white for this one. And so you can see I've sped this up for you, and I'm just playing around with it to see what I like. And I tried lowering the opacity on some. Eventually I did like those fine new looking flowers to be in the background at a lower opacity. And something else that's important to mention is that I put each flower on a different layer so that I could lower the opacity of each individual one, or blend each individual one, or resize each individual one the way I wanted it. Now you can see at the bottom here what I'm doing is I use the same brush, but I just lower the opacity of them, and then I move them around, change directions, because we don't really want it to have a pattern. It's okay if you use the same one, but you don't want it to look like you just took the same brush and went over and over again in a pattern. It just needs to be split up so that it looks a little more natural. Here I'm just still working on the background. I liked those, so I just lowered the opacity of them. And at this point, I really wasn't sure if I was going to keep all of the flowers. I wasn't sure if I even really liked them. Especially that one on her shoulder, I was kind of struggling with that. So you can see me playing with the opacity on these. And I didn't use any kind of blending modes on these. I just lowered the opacity on them. A way to change the direction of these brushes is you do Command T, and then you can use your mouse to rotate them, or you could press the left the left click on your mouse and then you could flip horizontally or flip vertically or whatever you need to do, or rotate it. And then I think I was talking earlier about changing the size of the brushes with your brackets tool, with your brackets shortcut. And so all that is it's the brackets on your keypad, and the right one makes the brush bigger and the left one makes the brush smaller. So now you can see I finished placing all of the brushes, and I'm just playing around with gradients. So with the gradient, what you do is you choose your color first over on the left side in the color palette. So choose your colors, and I realized that I had a black. I had it fading from like an orangish peachish to black, so I just changed that to white. And then I blended that in. Trying to figure out which one I want to use. Now this was kind of a happy mistake as I was trying to figure out the different blending modes. It completely changed the color of the photo, and I was like, oh dang, I really like that. So I actually just kept it. And some people might like the purple. You could use the purple one as well, but I really liked this warm tone, and so that's the one I used. Played around with the contrast a little bit, but I decided to make more adjustments in Lightroom again with the colors, since I had changed the color so dramatically. And so I saved it and brought it back into Lightroom. And then these are the color profiles. They're at the very top of your right hand side, the very top of your whole tools and everything. So I went to the color profile and chose one, and then just played around with the contrast and the saturation again. The texture, what texture does is it makes the skin really smooth. It can smooth it out a little too much, so I'd be careful on that, but I liked the skin pretty smooth on this. A way to see the before and after is by clicking your backslash, and that shows your before and after. And that's the end of it. This is my final result.